Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Join Dota MLG Pro League Season number 2. We have our second winner bracket match today. It is going to be Alliance versus Balkan Bears Corleone to determine the second team that is going to Austin, Texas. And we already have a draft, so let's get into it, shall we? The first game is going to be starting off with myself, Capitalist, joined by Nahaz. Nahaz, what's up, my man?
Not too much, my good friend. Should be a good one we've got here today against a newly reformed Balkan Bears squad against Alliance, a team that has been a little bit inconsistently lately. I mean, they got dismantled in 2 games yesterday against Burden United and then split a series 1-1 versus NIP. They've dropped games to Vegas Squadron. They've dropped a game to Basically Unknown a few days back. I mean, this is a team that just needs to show some consistency, and now is a critical time for them.
Yeah, you know, actually, Nahaz, can you do me a quick question? Can you check out Flash, as that should be exist? I just want to make sure that's actually the German player exist. Has the roster I've been given is Hook, Yapsor, Exist, the Coon, as well as Crit. But yeah, this team obviously broken up. I guess, like, from what seems to be the case is that Weha and the rest of the team didn't really like fit as well as apparently they used to, and then of course Levy has actually been, sounds like, released from the team as well. So it sounds like in general like Balkan Bears is just kind of falling apart, and they've just remade this new team, I would presume solely because they're like, well, we've got this Join Dota MLG League, we might as well try for it. So they've kind of cobbled the players together. The question is whether or not they're actually going to be able to perform up against Alliance, who, despite the fact that they had a bad couple of games over the last few days, they have been showing a lot of improvement, and I think a lot of people have a renewed hope in Alliance ever since Admiral Bulldog joined them.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and assume that Flash is exist. I'm not 100% sure, but every piece of news that I've heard was that they were going to be retaining those 3 players, Hook, Yapsor, and Exist. So I had not heard about Crit being the stand-in up until this point. And do you know Coon?
I do know Coon.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually know Coon a little bit. He is to date the one player who I know actively hates me. That's how I know him.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. He mega flamed me in some pubs that we played together.
Building bridges there.
Yeah. It's literally the only player that I've ever known to like actively dislike me.
Well,
whatever.
We should talk about the draft, because I can bring up the sound meme if you want, but you are playing Alliance. You let them pick Furion because you think you can counter it. Do you think Balkan Bears have what it takes to counter Furion?
I mean, I guess we'll find out whether or not they're idiots here in this next game and the game following. But they do have a decent start to countering the HS Prophet with the Disruptor, but it's not going to be enough by itself, that's for sure. Alliance are going to be going, they've been running this combo a lot lately. A lot of Slard are picked up for Loda as they've been letting Pycat kind of take over the hard one role, and particularly, I mean, before Alliance was already kind of creating space for Nikwa. I would say priority obviously in Pycat, but they were creating some space for Nikwa. But I would say that with Admiral Bulldog, he is even more of a like 2-position offlaner than pretty much any other offlaner out there. So it's really up to Loda to play a lot more aggressive style heroes, since the change up from Pycat to S4. The obvious difference is that S4 is able to and likes to seemingly play a lot more of the aggressive mids. Back when he was on Alliance, created a lot of space for the rest of the team, while Pycat has definitely been settling into that carry mid position, it seems.
Yeah, and this was the reason that they gave for the roster change. As many people will know, they went ahead and dismissed Nikwa, who'd played very well for them, in order to bring Bulldog back. And the big reason that Loda gave in the statement for that was that core flexibility, that they felt they needed to be able to change up roles among their 3 core players, as we've seen so many of the top tier teams do recently. And yeah, I mean, this Slardar pick is something that they've kept going to. They won 10 straight games, but starting in early March, going through early April. But they're only 2-4 in their last 6 games with this hero. But it is something that they believe in. They need to be drafting an aggressive hero for Loda to give Pycat and Bulldog the space to farm, as you mentioned. And Pycat's had some good games on this Shadow Fiend. So, I mean, this is a strategy that should work. But again, Alliance has had some problems with their execution very recently.
Yeah. And it does have a lot of synergy with the Slardar, with the minus armor combinations and a physical damage dealer in the Nature's Prophet. It's looking pretty good. The Lina to round out their lineup. Alliance are going to be running a Shadow Demon Lina combination. I like to see this combo, especially since the Lina was so heavily favored as a mid laner. She really hasn't seen any serious nerfs since then, so the opportunity to give a maybe a little bit greedier 4-position Lina can make that transition to be a serious impact going on later into the game without having to take over that coveted mid-roll. Balkan Bears, though, with the Rubik and Sand King are opting for a lot of team fight here, and what seems to be an off-lane Sand King with potentially defensive tri-lane around the Gyrocopter, but what also could be an aggro try if they want to test their luck against Alliance.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're seeing that more and more against a Slardar, that you saw S4 get really shut down hard on his Slardar the other day in the Red Bull Finals in a try-v-try situation. This is a hero that Slardar, he can get really, really scary early on in the mid game if he gets any kind of space whatsoever in the lane. But he's another one of those heroes, like, I mean, it's kind of typical of strength heroes. Chaos Knight is similar, that if they fall behind early, they really struggle trying to get back into a game. He's a very poor catch-up hero.
Yeah. All right, so the Kun is normally the offlaner, so he's going to be playing the Sand King. We got Hook playing the mid Zeus, and they are going to be having Exist, it seems, playing the Gyrocopter. Pretty normal stuff. So seems like everything checking out for Balkan Bears, and same goes with Alliance. Not really anything that we can be a surprise by their pickup, as obviously Admiral Bulldog playing the Nature's Prophet, Pycat with the SF, and Loda's been continually playing the Slardar for them for the last 4 months, I would say.
Yeah, I really do feel like Balkan Bears are the team that needs to get something done here in the mid game in this kind of a lineup, because as you mentioned earlier, you know, Bulldog farming on Prophet, he can go late with that hero with no problem whatsoever. And you know, Gyrocopter, if you look at his stats, he has just this gaudy win rate. He's like 48 and 28 in 20 to 40 minute games. He's actually below 500 in matches over 40 minutes or that end earlier than 20 minutes. So, I mean, this is a hero. He has a lot of mid-game strength, but he hasn't necessarily been as dominant in the late-game carry role.
Real quickly, do you happen to know what Alliance's win rate is with the Slardar? Because they are the one team that has consistently run this carry. I would say they've probably picked up 50% of the Slardar that we've seen in the last 2 months. Yeah,
they definitely have picked Slardar more than any other team. Like I said earlier during the draft, they won 10 straight games with it from early March to early April, but only 2-4 in their last 6. So really, they haven't been able to secure Loda the kind of lane dominance in their last 6 games over the last 2 weeks or so with the hero that they were getting a little bit earlier on. I mean, what was happening for them last month was that Pycat was generating so much space in the mid lane with his sniper play that Loda had a lot of the pressure taken off of him.
Right. Well, they're not going to be feeling too much pressure, it seems, at least in the early laning phase, as we are going to have a defensive tri-lane set up by Balkan Bears.
I really don't like that.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, Gyrocopter is so good early on. I feel like he could easily have contested the laning phase of Alliance here. And Alliance, a team, you know, they've been vulnerable to poor starts recently.
Yeah, I'm loving this. Look at this. Bulldog timed it perfectly. He got his first Nature's Call set of treants to be able to pull the creeps far enough, and as they died, his second set of treants was able to make the connection with the pull, and he will now have the equilibrium to his favor, or at the very least getting level 2 to start with, which is exactly what you need on the Fury.
Yeah, and this is a second straight game that we've been talking about the importance of securing level 2 on that Nature's Prophet. Unison found for Ninjas in Pajamas was able to do that in our last game and got off to a magnificent start.
So the early mid-game, let's see, we also had the Zeus facing up against the SF, which is okay for the SF. It's a lane where basically Zeus can't deny it all, so at the very least you've got kind of assured CS in lane through that. Even if the Zeus is able to spam out pretty hard, especially if he gets that level 2 Arc Lightning pretty early on.
So what do you think about this? Is this correct to basically just start with pooled tangos and go straight for the bottle?
You know, I am actually a big fan of Clarity's, particularly in this matchup, specifically because you know the SF is not going to be putting pressure on you early, just due to his natural squishiness that he doesn't want to fight into a Zeus too much. So I would say normally I would delay the bottle at the very least for a couple of Clarities. You would still have your bottle by the 2-minute rune, but I guess Hook really wanted to make sure that no matter what happened, essentially, that he would be able to get that bottle right away. And I think rune control is pretty important against an SF who you know is probably not going to be looking for that rune control. If you get the right kind of rotational rune, you can even kill the SF or perhaps one of the side lanes without too much effort. I think that's the biggest advantage that Zeus has over the SF, is that he is able to provide that kind of rotational power that the SF simply can't because he's a farming mid.
Yeah, and I think in this situation as well, you have a defensive tri-lane on top where your two supports aren't going to have a ton of pressure on them early. They can help this Zeus control that middle part of the map.
Furion seems to be doing okay. Admiral Bulldog manages to get at least one of his melee creeps pulled over to the hard camp. Wonder if he's thinking about going to jungle here soon, or if he's getting enough farm in this lane to make it worth his while.
Yeah, I think he's probably, if this continues to go as it is, oh boy, we might see first blood here on Mad. Nice combination.
The Coon's going to try and block him out as much as possible. Didn't really get it, and Mad is maybe able to deny himself. Nope, the lightning bolt out from Hook is able to finish him off. First blood going to the Zeus is a big pickup. This means either a very early soul ring, which he can use to abuse the Shadow Fiend, throwing lightning bolt after lightning bolt, or he can go for the little bit nicer team fight pickup of Arcane Boots.
Yeah, so the question to me is, what's Mad doing on that? What's Mad doing positioned on that part of the map?
I think he just really wanted to make sure that the pull didn't happen, as the Coon can't do anything else but stack.
Got it. Okay, so yeah, I mean, in a way, yeah, the Coon's getting shut down harder than Bulldog is for sure. I mean, Bulldog, hell, against a tri-lane, Bulldog's is sitting at level 4.
Yeah, he's doing very well for himself, that's for sure. And if he can manage to get some of these right clicks uphill as well. Oh, he missed that one. Won't be able to get that bigger creep. And Admiral Bulldog's actually going to die here.
He's in trouble.
Yeah, he should be going down. Telekinesis, throwback, and the Rocket Barrage. Easy kill, but considering that his aggressive play has got him to level 4, I would say overall it's worth it. Obviously, that one specific positioning error is going to give away a free kill over to Balkan Bears, but through and through, that kind of aggressive play is you're bound to get picked off eventually.
Yeah, it is a little scary anytime you give an early game kill to a gyro in this meta, but yeah, it's funny. It feels like it's been a while.
Oh my God, they're getting the courier! Oh, that is a gank on the courier. Holy cow, I can't say I've seen that before. Telekinesis, or sorry, not a telekinesis, but a disruption into the Light Strike Array. Will be able to get that one kill. Now they're trapped. Oh my God, they're going to be able to get 1, 2, and Hook will get away. But Alliance, what a gank that was. The invisibility spying out the courier there with the Furion teleporting in, summoning Treants, and quickly right-clicking down the courier and then turning onto the Rubik. One hell of a play from Alliance.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice multi-hero sprout there, too, that almost got them another kill. I mean, suddenly Alliance bring 4 heroes into the mid lane, and I was just about to talk about the fact that the early game here has felt unusually passive, and then Alliance run that play. Well done.
And it looks like they may have another play in sight as Yapzor is sneaking himself into the side here, but if anybody rotates around that tower and goes through that pathway, Yapzor will end up being caught. He's got to keep himself out of vision so they don't know he's soaking experience, and seems like he is successful. Alliance are going to rotate their 2 supports here into middle lane, potentially. See if they can't catch out
spotted by
Zeus.
the ward, though.
Yeah, so they shouldn't be able to get Zeus here. He's got vision of both of them. Will know that they're going to be hiding underneath his tower. So Hook just backs himself all the way behind that tier 1 as Mad makes his appearance finally, but Now the TPN actually immediately canceled from the gyrocopter, I believe.
Yeah, that was bizarre. It would have been very, very strange for him to complete that TP.
Yeah, particularly against the quick nukes of Alliance, like basically a disruption into a light strike array, double nuke out from SF, and any hero is going to die damn near instantly. So it's not like you can actually make that kind of call, essentially, to try and 2 versus 3 or even 3 versus 3 against Alliance with those 3 heroes in particular.
But boy, I hate to bring this up this early, but I mean, Alliance are out farming hard right now. This is actually getting, it's even at 6 minutes, this is actually getting to the point where I'm becoming concerned. I mean, Alliance are just getting so much more out of the laning phase right now.
To not have a tower advantage and not to be up that high, like it's 2-2 right now in kills, even if they did get the first blood, and it's 2,000 gold to the favor of Alliance and 2,000 experience. It's the biggest difference, obviously, being between the offlaners. So Kuhn has thankfully had some stacks for him and has another stack, actually. He's going to be able to have his Blink Dagger here and potentially level 7 by like 9 minutes. That could definitely be a game changer where the Fury Gun can't possibly institute that kind of big playmaking mechanisms in the first 10 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, credit Yapsor and Crit doing a very good job being efficient with their stacking in the jungle, as well as keeping Gyro safe here in the top lane. Kuhn's been able to come back really nicely in this match.
Yeah, Admiral Bulldog is actually still a level above him even after that stack, but looks like they're actually going to try and push down this tier 1 tower now. Obviously, early tower bounty is pretty nice for Alliances, particularly on the Slardar. As
and it's a super early blink, but right? Okay, we were ending at the same place there. I wanted to make sure that we got that out because the super early blink dagger here on Loda. I mean, I wonder if he actually. Yeah, he probably finishes his treads, but we've seen Loda go Midas on this hero as Bulldog fakes the TP mid to back up Pycat's haste rune.
Yeah, I mean, he might feel that he's far enough ahead that a Midas may be preferable for him. Levels are pretty important for Slardar, generally speaking, particularly that level 2 amplified damage, which just seemingly makes any hero super scared, even if they do have any kind of defensive mechanisms. The gyrocopter in particular, who's pretty dependent on BKB, is susceptible to physical damage.
And I think you got to address the tier 2 push here. I mean, this is a big mistake to let your tier 2 go down this easily. Look at that. It's already half health.
Alliance, though, very quick to back themselves up, and will be they know just
Bulldog.
They cleared a lot of room for Bulldog for sure.
Look at this. I mean, he's just going to go directly up to the top and pressure the T1 and wash, rinse, repeat for the next 20 minutes. Meanwhile, 3 members of Alliance smoked, rotating around here to mid.
Yeah, they have Pycat with the double damage threatening that middle tier 1 tower. They know someone's got to rotate to address him, so they're going to see if they can get a pick off here with the Blink Dagger leading on to the Zeus. Follow up Light Strike Array. The nukes are there. Almost enough to finish off the Zeus, but first he gets off his ultimate. They do get the kill on the Slardar and will be able to get a lot more. Ake behind the tower quickly falls. Bucky mad, probably soon to do next, but Pycat with a double damage rune. Almost enough to get 1 kill. In fact, does get on the gyrocopter. Crit going to be up next, and they don't even hold him inside the kinetic field. The Kuhn blinks himself away. But Pycat manages to turn that fight to Alliance's favor despite kind of a questionable start. Plus, they get the tier 1 tower in the top lane. Bulldog, his only part in that team fight was just using the ultimate.
Yeah, and only the newly completed Blink Dagger on the Kuhn prevented that from being a team wipe by Alliance there. So a great fight. You wonder if there was a little bit of miscommunication. Loda, in the process of trying not to be in Gyrocopter's calldown, ran away from the Zeus, which potentially let him get the ulti off that resulted in Loda's death. You wonder if Loda might just have been better off eating the calldown and continuing to stick on the Zeus there. But regardless, that fight works out for Alliance.
Yeah, hopefully they do still have the epicenter out from the Sand King. This wasn't used in the last fight, so with this smoke, they may be able to turn their fortunes as it is drastically going against them now. Almost a 7,500 gold lead to the favor of Alliance. You could pretty much put that all on Pycat. You eliminate Pycat as a hero and make this a 4 versus 5. Alliance would actually still be ahead in net worth.
And the scary thing is that, okay, as Pycat gets initiated on here.
Yeah, missed lightning bolt there thanks to the disruption out from Mad. Very nicely played. In epicenter, they completely whiffs. Oh, God, they're going to be able to glimpse it back, but it's too late. Pycat charges forward, pops the ultimate, will be able to get it off, and then immediately dies. Kuhn almost goes down. Coon has to run himself away. He needs a little bit more damage to finish him off. Fortunately, Furion does go down. The fight actually doesn't turn that bad. In fact, it might just get really good if Crit can manage to finish off Loda here with the help of Hook. Oh, the disruption. They get the kill anyway. Hook will come back surrounded by Treants, though. He will end up going down 4 for 3, plus they get the tier 1 tower. Ends up still going the way of Alliance.
Yeah, and I mean, the only saving grace there is it is the 3 cores from Alliance that die, but I was just about to observe before that fight, it's not just the gold bleed at this point, it's the fact that that gold bleed has gone into early game items. It's Loda with Blink and Treads, it's Pycat with its mech done, it's Admiral Bulldog getting close to an Orchid here. Alliance, we're not talking about a gold lead due to Midas's or Masks of Madness. Alliance's heroes are ready to fight right now.
Yeah, they certainly are. With the Orchid coming up on Admiral Bulldog, that's going to be a heavy counter to obviously the supports, as well as the Zeus. Gyrocopter is even going to be susceptible to that. As we can see, he's not going to have a BKB for a very long time at this rate.
Yeah, but fortunately or unfortunately, Zeus is building toward that Yules, which will largely neutralize the Orchid effect. But still, yeah, I mean, hard to argue with that item on Nature's Prophet. It does basically everything you'd want it to do. It's a good fighting item. It's also a great pushing item.
Yeah, when you get it this early, no matter what the team composition is, it's going to be effective. Just because you know supports are always susceptible to that. Most likely the offlaner is too. So basically 3 out of the 5 heroes on the enemy team are guaranteed to be susceptible to the pickup. So, and he could probably go for even Shadowblade immediately after this.
5-man smoke though by BBC. They recognize the situation. They need to make a play here, or Alliance is just going to beat them on economy.
But a kill on the Shadow Demon is not going to be good enough. They get the glimpse back and will be able to pick them off thanks to that steal. YapzOr manages to also get the Soul Catcher out from the Shadow Demon, but yeah, it's a 5-man smoke for a support. That's nothing.
You found Pile Die. I mean, it's not enough, but it's something. And I think you have to take that chance right there, even if it doesn't pan out necessarily the way you wanted. Boy, if they let Loda finish a BKB, I just think they're gonna get face rolled in this game.
Oh, certainly. I mean, at that point in time, they have no disables to be able to go through that magic immunity. He's just going to charge right up to the Gyrocopter every single time, put amplified damage on him, and beat his face in. And they don't have any BKB to help mitigate that. They have nothing.
And at some point, I mean, I see a lot of players doing it, and these guys are way better than me. But at some point, I really do wonder, you see the Gyrocopter continuing to pick up the Morbid Mask. At what point do you buy a wand? At what point do you buy a bracer?
Yeah, just some basic stats to be able to help you fight a little bit. I can understand
you're dead,
that.
right? I mean, look at his HP. I mean, 834 HP. You're dead to one Shadow Fiend ulti, basically.
Yeah, this is why you sometimes see drums picked up on the Gyrocopter just as a basic stat item. And Balkan Bears not too shy about using this smoke, the third one in the last 5 minutes. Another 5-man smoke going to go down. And this is unfortunately going to set them without a smoke for the next 10 minutes. So they have to make this one worth it. And what are they going to find? Looks like they may just catch up to Admiral Bulldog here, but he's already TPing out. So they're not even going to get that one. The smoke breaks on one of them. But they place an offensive ward, but don't actually see Bulldog, who's now farming up Ancients.
No, I mean, that's just a very underrated aspect of Bulldog's Tyrion. I mean, how often do you see him get caught out to smoke ganks on this hero? He has such a sixth sense when he's playing Prophet.
Yeah, he definitely knows to just keep moving around the map as much as possible with continuing to be able to farm up multiple parts of the jungle. The 4-manning out from Alliance. The Coon's going to try and set up for an epicenter here. They do have the Zeus ultimate as well. They need the surprise factor, and they got to catch a lot of heroes out. Loda, he's actually not going to be able to get that blink. They'll blow him up nice and quick. Pycat also going to be caught as the call down goes down. Not going to be able to catch him with the kinetic field. Disruption saves him from both the call downs, but they glimpse him back and will be able to kill Pycat anyway. They don't lose anybody, and they get 3 kills off of Alliance. A great team fight for Balkan Bears.
Yeah, that is exactly what they needed to stay in this match. And I'm with you, man. You gotta ask yourself, what is Loaded doing that far forward? I mean, he doesn't have his BKB yet, and you have to respect this burst damage coming out from the ultimate abilities of Balkan Bears.
Yeah, just because it was nighttime, it seems they really did not expect those heroes to be on the side. Maybe if he just blinked a half a second sooner, that fight could have been very much different. But the lightning bolt coming down and stopping his blink onto the disruptor allows them to be able to get a quick kill on him, and then the follow-up there with PyCat being so far forward is another easy kill.
Yeah, I do think, though, if you're Alliance, it's time to dial it back a bit and finish that BKB up on Loda, because that's the second fight where Loda's been the first hero down.
Yeah, for sure. If he can finish up that BKB again, there's not really much that can stop Alliance when they have the preemptive BKB. Now, there's still a chance that Balkan Bears can catch out some of these heroes, particularly with the Sand King ultimate. If they can drop the nukes beforehand, they can still blow up the Slardar, but especially with the way that Alliance is being the controllers of the map right now, it doesn't seem too likely. And also, we are completely out of smokes now. I said 10 minutes. I was wrong. There was another smoke left for Balkan Bears, but now it should be 10 minutes until their next smoke. And this is basically the only thing that's keeping Balkan Bears in the game. The reason you don't see teams go for this too often is normally the 5-man smoke isn't worth just a simple pickoff. Now they're going to go for PyCat here, leading with the Burrow Strike, but they don't even get him.
Yeah,
they empty. Full retreat now. As the Coon hides himself in the trees, the Furion going to TP aggressively forward here. Wants to be able to get the Sprout. Now this is very dangerous for him. He will get blown up immediately, but did he just stall up Balkan Bears enough to be able to get the kill? Doesn't look like it, because they're chasing the Coon, who manages to blink away, and they get fucking mad as they manage to glimpse him backwards. I guess all's well that ends well for Balkan Bears Corleone, who started off with an unsuccessful smoke, but some over-aggression from Alliance still gives them 2 kills.
Yeah, and this is just what you've been seeing from Alliance lately. This is what I was talking about, is just minor errors in coordination in these fights where one hero gets just a little bit too far forward and maybe everybody's not quite on the same page, and all of a sudden you're ending up giving a free core kill up at the very beginning of the fight, which almost always is going to lead to casualties in your other heroes. So, you know, that's really 3 fights where Alliance has given up one of their main cores before the action has even really gotten going.
Bulldogs, he's got the Orchid, long-range Orchid, plus the stun. The Coon gets picked off. The highest, well, not quite highest, but pretty decently farmed Balkan Bears hero ends up getting picked off by the 3 cores of Alliance, plus they'll take a tier 2 off of this one without the Epicenter, which, you know, was off cooldown. They didn't use it for the last fight. Without that Epicenter, there's no way that they're going to be able to stop Alliance. Instead, maybe they can get a pick off here, but never mind. Crit going to go for the TP out. The Orchid may just be enough inside the fountain, and it is. He gets the kill. Meanwhile, Exist tried to go for the pick off there on the Shatter Demon, but they already had the Veil of Discord up on the Lina. Now Exist going to try and back himself up, but Hook immediately gets blown up as the Zeus, the TP out from our Rubik is successful. Gyrocopter, well, he's stuck in a hole, and Alliance will take their time getting this kill. Disruption and some right clicks to finish him off 14-13. And even if the kill score is close up top lane, PyCat actually gets hit by that Burrow Strike stun. Pulled back into the nukes of the Zeus. PyCat now has the opportunity to pop his ultimate, though. Let's loose. Yule Scepter to dodge. Coon also gets away. Has another Burrow Strike up in a second. PyCat's BKB, his first BKB, can only last so long. They get the stun, nuke him down. The Coon survives, and they get the kill. Buyback, very much worth it for the Zeus, but at the same time, Alliance are still getting a trade-off. They see how much commitment is there in the top lane, and they say Roshan is ours for the taking.
And that's kind of the thing that, boy, BBC have made some plays here, and they've done what they needed to do to stay in the game, but at the same time, when you give up that large a lead early on, I mean, the other team just has so much margin for error, and you know, even these mistakes for Alliance, they're still able to take objectives, even off the back of a lost fight by PyCat up top.
Yeah, I think one of the best things, there's a lot of downsides to Balkan Bears right now, but the fact that they utilize these smokes, they also got themselves very aggressive vision up early on. If they can continue to utilize that, Unfortunately, it looks like 2 of their wards has just died. They only have this ward behind the Tier 1 tower. Maybe they could still utilize this one by pushing down the bottom Tier 1 tower and catching whoever makes the rotation, but they got to continue to use these wards while they can because they pretty much have no other advantage. The smokes kept them in the game, but now they don't have anything left to get themselves ahead of the game, as Alliance obviously have very strong late game potential and are still very far ahead in net worth.
Yeah, I mean, really, Loda's still not to BKB yet, so I do feel like if BBC want to, they could take off. They could take one more fight here, but I think once Loda gets
Pycat,
really hard.
They're going to try and nuke him down. Actually, they go for bugging that at the same time. He force stabs himself over the cliff. Yapzor does have the Requiem of Souls if they want to try and let that one loose. Homing Missile going to chase down Pycat, but it seems like everyone's a little bit too low. Hook, though, is going to be caught in the side here. Orchid it up. Nothing really to save him. They do get a good ultimate off with the Requiem of Souls. Nicely played. The double supports get 2 kills, but that is just an Aegis. Yapzor is going to be bursted down by the Laguna Blade. Loda back up. Actually blinks himself downwards to catch the Coon while the ultimate goes out from Pycat. And now it's just left up to Exist to try and get the kill onto Ake, but doesn't seem like he'll be able to catch him as the Force Staff keeps Ake out at distance of the Rocket Barrage, and now they'll just kite around this carry hero of Balkan Bears until Loda eventually catches up. Gyrocopter gets himself in a hiding space here and will be able to TP out, thankfully. So he keeps his dreams and hopes of being able to farm up a BKB alive for the time being, but another lost fight for Balkan Bears.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. I feel like they played that fight pretty well, but it's just too much of a lead now for Alliance. Loda's BKB is flying out on the courier, and Alliance have no reason to leave the BB side of the map.
Certainly. They're going to go for this Tier 2 tower in the middle lane. The rotation is coming out from Balkan Bears. As the initiation, Blink Dagger, and Telekinesis, they have the call down, which will slow down Pycat, but can they actually kill him? Disruption gets laid out. He still has a mech to be able to heal himself up as well. He's trying to bait in these heroes and perfectly does so as Loda gets the 2-man stun, finishes up Hook, crit also falls. Pycat does survive through the engagement. Coon misses his stun up against Loda, and Loda will not be able to find the initiation he was looking for. 19 to 15, yeah. 23 minutes in, and Alliance take another Tier 2 tower. More objectives for the A team.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Pycat might be waiting a little bit too long to pop his BKB in these fights. It's the second straight engagement I've seen that he's had like 40% HP before he even thought about popping the BKB, and as you can see, it's still up. But still, I mean, Alliance are winning these fights just by virtue of being really far ahead.
Item-wise, what do we got going on here? Double BKBs, Pycat as well as Loda have picked up theirs, but even the supports are very farmed as they have a Glimmer Cape that we mentioned earlier on Ake plus the Point Booster, and they have a Force Staff and now Gem of True Sight on Mad, with Admiral Bulldog soon building a Silver Edge, as it looks like he's going to be going for the Sage first rather than the Shadowblade.
Yeah, I mean, I actually really like that support combo. I think one Glimmer and one Force Staff is generally going to be the right early game balance. I've seen teams actually run multiple Glimmer Capes, but I feel like in this situation, one Glimmer and one Force is really, really powerful.
Loda going to make the initiation on Crit here. They saw him thanks to the Treants. Crit lays out an ultimate, but doesn't really do him too much. There is no Balkan Bears follow-up.
Yeah, and they can push high ground off this if they really want to.
Yeah, certainly. They don't have the Aegis anymore, but they still have a very tanky Loda as he not only finished up his BKB, but got a bit booster while he was there in the side. So he has drastically jumped up in survivability when it comes to these fights. Now sitting at almost 2k HP. Pycat with the double damage as well. The one thing they can't really attest for is the mass spamming that Balkan Bears has. Whether it's well, actually, they've got a Shadow Rays for Yapzor, so on top of that Fate Bolt, he can actually clear through a wave all by himself, and obviously Zeus, particularly strong at being able to spam out.
Yeah, and you see Pycat finishing up his SNY. Their Alliance are going full mid-game mode right now. They think they can end this game in the next 5 to 10 minutes, and I think they're absolutely right. I still am not quite feeling the Slardar pick here. I mean, Loda got his Blink Dagger out super early in this game, and it doesn't quite feel like we've seen the pickoff plays from him. I mean, Admiral Bulldog has definitely forced the action here. I mean, look at this, 15 assists in on 17 out of 20 Alliance kills, showing why he's the top Nature's Prophet player in the world. But, you know, they keep going back to the slaughter. They obviously feel that it's a very good hero for them.
Yeah, Loda has always been kind of strong-willed, and when it comes to those kind of hero picks, he's very set on, like, even if it doesn't work up in this, you know, the one fashion, he sees, you know, okay, there's a lot of strength in this hero in this one particular way, and if we can just get it to work, and usually Alliance can get it to work. The Slaughter, as we saw, had that big win spree, but I'm kind of with you. I'm not sure if really the Slaughter, it's hard to tell with this game just because it's so one-sided to the favor of Alliance that really any hero could have worked there, but we'll have to see in the future as Alliance goes on. Obviously, TI qualifiers coming up. If they continue to pick up the Slaughter, how successful it will be for the teams that are more prepared for it.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing about Loda is I've seen him do this before and be right. I mean, they were running Juggernaut long before 6.83, and Loda had a gaudy record on the hero. And there are a couple other examples as well. They were running Lifesteal before it was really big in the meta. So, I mean, we've seen Loda do this before and be right about the heroes. But yeah, I'll need to see a little bit more of the Slardar before I'm convinced. But let me ask you the question. Can BB bring themselves back into this match? They have a long hill to climb for sure.
I mean, to normally you would want to be able to ramp it up as much as possible, but to say 27 minutes that you have a 17 or 18,000 gold lead, you've got better late game on the side of Alliance who have such a gigantic lead in the first place. You've got even the supports who are drastically farmed. You have an Aghanim Scepter about to be finished up on Ake, who's going to have already level 2 Laguna Blade, soon to be level 3 at the rate that they're farming. I just do not see a way for them back in this game unless something drastic here happens in the next 5 minutes, and that's totally up to Alliance, right? You can see the way they're controlling the map and spreading out their heroes. They're not pushing into the enemy base, and I think that's the only way that Balkan Bears come back is if Alliance pushes in, because again, we don't have any smokes out for the side of Balkan Bears, so they really do not have an option. If there's vision down, any decent kind of vision, right? And they're not going to be able to find all the wards, that's for sure. Any kind of decent vision from Alliance will tell them, hey, they're coming in this direction, it's a 5-man, and as long as they don't get caught by that 5-man, they're not going to die.
Yeah, and I think that's unfortunately about right. And even, you know what, I think that's a trap that I fall into while I'm casting, that Alliance have lost a couple heroes in some of these fights, and they've mis-executed a little bit, possibly, but all of the fights have been on BB's side of the map. I mean, Alliance has just really choked this team off.
Oh, they certainly have. I mean, you only have, like, smoke gangs. The only time that Balkan Bears actually felt a possibility of crossing over the river, and even those didn't necessarily go all that successful. So Alliance probably just going to wait out this next Roshan. Once they get Aegis, then they have the opportunity to push uphill.
No, and as you said, I mean, the vision advantage is becoming incredibly decisive. I mean, you could see by Alliance's ward positioning, they do not want to let BB even get to their secret shop.
Yeah, you see them right now running around with Mad, throwing out Shadow Poisons, giving that little bit of vision to see wards every once in a while, and they see this one right up here on the cliff, and they will replace it with one of their own. So you can see where their vision, they just lost a vision inside the enemy jungle, but they've replaced it with one that covers the not only a little bit of secret shop, but also this bottom ramp area, right? So they see any excursion outside of the base from Balkan Bears in the bottom lane. They have middle decently covered with this ward right here, which catches a decent amount of this ramp as well, which kind of lets you know if they're going to rotate from middle into their own jungle, which just leaves the question marks at top lane. But look at what Bulldog's doing. He's got Treant set up in the enemy jungle, so even then, they have these kind of temporary outposts where they know if Balkan Bears have left their base or not.
Yeah, and also in the Roche bed. And this is, you can see by the ward positioning again, what Alliance is going to do here. They want vision on that part of the map because their plan is to wait another minute or so for Roche to spawn, take that Roche, and then try and double racks mid and bottom.
Yapsor may be able to pick up an Aghanim Scepter before the next big team fight. That could be a pretty big one. Obviously, the best ultimate to steal would be that Laguna Blade out from the Lina, so I guess he just has to hope he's not the target of that pure damage move.
Yeah, and he does. He will get the Aghanim's version if he can finish an Aghanim's on itself. But that Ag's Laguna is just such a bad news for Flash here. I mean, he's got 1366 HP on his gyrocopter now. I mean, half of that is gone immediately to the Laguna for Maki.
Bulldog does get scouted out here. They will be able to kill the courier, even if Bulldog does manage to escape. Meanwhile, Alliance will quickly push in the middle lane, seeing that opportunity with 2 heroes off map. Now, Roshan is up. Alliance, this may not be the right time for them to push uphill, but then again, it also doesn't really matter this much when you're so far ahead. They can afford to make these kind of drastic calls.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you're Alliance right now, that's pretty much a, hey guys, get back in your base, boys.
Yeah.
That's a, we can come up here anytime we want to. It's just because of this big boy in the pit that we've waited this long.
So with the Amplify damage, that is now level 3, so minus 20 armor laid out means they'll have an Aegis for Pycat, who almost has a Satanic already. So if you want to ask for HP and sustain on the side of Alliance, you've got it. Double lives on SF with a Satanic soon to come is essentially a third life as well, particularly paired with the BKB. And then Loda has actually got a lot of tankiness as well, and I'm liking this pickup, the Vlads. It's been seen a lot now on many different cores, with specifically when you're running a 2 or 3 position farm, a farm role hero where you can afford to get something like this, right? Loda doesn't really need much past the Blink Dagger. Like, yes, BKB is probably required for team fights, but other than that, everything is very much luxury. So if he can just increase the power of his other 2 cores through this Vlad's, that now gives ranged lifesteal, he will do so just to be able to give his essentially 1 and 2 position more power.
Yeah, and it's what's amazing about Vlad's is for a relatively cheap item, it scales so well. Because it's all percentage based.
Pycat? Well, he's the one on the front lines. He's the one with the double lives, and they're going to try and spam him out. They make the initiation on hook. Good telekinesis, but Loda does get off his BKB for any follow-up stuns. Yule Scepter used by Hook. He's still going to be hit by the stun. Never mind, Force Staff gets him away. Loda actually drops quite low. They're going to be able to get the Burrow Strike, but a good disruption saves him, and now Kuhn will actually die. Good Static Storm Blade out, catches 3. That's a good start. They're going to be able to take out 2 and also take away that Aegis, the SF, but he has BKB. He's going to turn it on. He's got Requiem of Souls, but he doesn't even need it. He'll right-click one down, probably go for crit as well with this, and, well, no, actually, they changed their mind. Looks like they're going to try and go for that tier 3 tower. Mad by himself is trying to finish up that range racks, looking for it. Disruption on himself, perhaps. Nope, the nuke gets him first. And Alliance, perhaps a little bit too greedy, stepping forward into that Balkan Bears base so dramatically. Past the tier 3 towers, ends up getting caught.
I feel like the BKB pop by Loda was a little bit early. He popped the BKB very, very early in the fight to try and chase down Hook on Zeus, and that meant that Loda's BKB was gone very early on before BB had spent their ultimates, and you saw the Slargar. Once that BKB is down, he still does drop pretty quickly in these fights.
It's kind of interesting, Bulldog. So I originally would have thought he would go BKB with this build, but he very clearly was building towards a Sange, right? Ogre Club as well as the Belt of Strength into Sange that would allow you to go for the Silver Edge eventually. But he has now backed away from that item choice, just has this Belt of Strength in his inventory, completed BKB, and is now going a full Mjolnir.
Yeah, I mean, it's just classic Bulldog Dota, man. First of all, his positioning is so good in fights that he's rarely going to take the brunt of the full nuke combo anyway. And yeah, I mean, he exploits the hell out of that and just builds these, well,
that's something.
Here you go. I mean, a little bit more of a desperate situation than it was in the last match where we saw this.
Ooh, they catch Pycat here, but a 2-man stun set up by Loda. Now going to try and bash Kuhn's face in before he can get out, and he does so successfully. Pycat, he does have the heal out, and they will be able to survive thanks to the Satanic Divine on the deck. Crit trying to take it away, but the right clicks are still going to be there. He will be caught. The Divine goes down, and GG is called from Balkan Bears.
Oh, come on, Pycat, pick up the rapier, dude. I don't care if it's GG.
How do they leave the rapier on the ground? Nobody wants it? All right.
Oh, the celebratory ulti.
I guess that's something. And finally, our GG call does go out. So game number 1 taken by Alliance, something I think most people would be expecting here, particularly with Balkan Bears breaking down and reforming like this. A newer team taking on the Supreme Veterans of Alliance, but this is just game number 1. It's still best of 3, so anything can happen. This is the other winner bracket finals that we have to determine who's going to be going to Austin, Texas for the X Games, as well as the Join Dota MLG Pro League Season number 2 LAN Finals. We hope you guys will see you there. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, game number 2.